Honorable members and the delegation from Mombasa County Executive, we will continue with our meeting. I'd like to welcome the delegation from Mombasa to the Senate and to the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate. We will proceed with our agenda. We started a bit earlier with an update from the Auditor General, from the ESCC and Control of Budget and the Parliamentary Budget Office. We now would want to have a conversation with the Mombasa delegation on the report of the Auditor General. We deferred prayer so that we could pray together. And I'm going to ask one of my members, Senator Dulo, to lead us in a word of prayer.
Let's pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servant whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Thank you, Senator Dulo. Honorable members, we had not adopted the agenda. Our agenda today is to consider the reports of the Auditor General and particularly the measures taken by the County Government of Mombasa to implement the recommendations of the Senate for the County Executive, Receiver of Revenue, and County Revenue Fund. Could I get a proposer from among the members?
Chair propose.
Thank you, Senator Wambua. Seconder?
Chair, I second.
Thank you, Senator Sifuna. We'll do a quick round of introduction, starting with members of the Senate present. I could start with Senator Dulo again.
Tumadulo, Senator Isiolo, member.
Good morning, Governor and your delegation. My name is Jones Maruma. I'm the Senator representing Taita Taveta, Vice Chair to this committee.
Mheshimiwa Governor na wote ambao umetoka Mombasa karibuni Nairobi, mimi ndio Sifuna na ni mwanachama wa kamati hii. Asante sana.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Enoch Wambua, Senator Kitui, a member of this committee.
My name is Lelev Geltumbesi, Senator for Samburu, member of the committee.
And I'm Moses Otieno Kajwang, Senator from Homa Bay. I chair the committee. We have a team of clerks that support us.
Good morning, Chair members. My name is Chris Pastima, Committee Clerk. Kibet Kevin, Committee Clerk.
Michelle Otoro, Legal Counsel.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Kanze Charo, Research Officer.
Good morning. My name is Shalim Simbi, Hansard Officer.
Matthias Muso, intern.
Good morning, John Lekampule, Sergeant Rams.
There's an intern behind there.
Imran Mohammed, Legal Services intern.
That's from us, Chairman.
You are welcome. We go to the Office of the Auditor General.
Good morning, Chair and members. I'm Ricky Patrick, the liaison officer. Chair, we have a team from our Mombasa regional office who are also in charge of the audit of Kwale and Taita Taveta, but they're today here for Mombasa. With the permission, they can come on record.
Thank you, Chair and members. My name is Leonard Opar, the Director of Audit, Mombasa Regional Office.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Samuel Obonyo, Mombasa Regional Office.
That's all, Chairman.
You are welcome, OAG, ESCC.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Christine Mweu from ESCC. Thank you.
Karibu, we usually have the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya and the Control of Budget. They will be joining us in due course. So we will go to the visiting delegation. Did we invite the County Assembly of Mombasa?
Yes, Chairman. We invited them, but they have not come.
Okay, in that case, we will proceed to the County Executive. Even though I've been in this country for some time, and there's someone here who looks like the Speaker of the County Assembly. So, are you here as part of Senator Faki's delegation, or you are here for the purpose of the Public Accounts Committee? I'm part of the Senator Faki delegation. Okay. Senator Faki. Separation of separation of powers. But anyway, that's. I mean, if the speaker was here formally, then we would acknowledge him formally. But he has a right to be here. He's a member of the public, so he has a right to be here, even if he does not go on record formally. So, Senator Faki, we were doing the introductions. Just go on record.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning.
Morning.
And assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Nairobi, Governor and your team. I found the speaker within the premises. That's why I brought him here.
No, you don't need to disown him.
Senator Mombasa County and friend of the committee. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Chair, I was wondering if the speaker is part of Senator Faki's delegation. He could properly be seated behind Senator Faki.
No. Well, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the Senate and the county assemblies to have a relationship, and there's nothing wrong about that. Governor, please go on record.
Thank you very much, Chair. Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, Governor of Mombasa. Maybe I allow the team to be able to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Evan Swanda. I'm the CC for Finance and Economic Planning.
Morning, Chair. I'm Swali Mwalizuma, the Chief Officer for Finance, County Government of Mombasa.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatma Nabhan, Advisor to the Governor on ICT. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Joshua Otieno, the Principal Accountant.
Good morning. My name is Bishara Mohammed, Accountant.
Good morning. My name is Dalton Mwagogo, Chairman of Audit Committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Makoha Murunga, Assistant Director of Finance.
Good morning. My name is Idris Mbaruk, Accountant.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zahra Sharif Ahmed, Accountant.
Good morning. My name is Ali Omar, Accountant.
Good morning. My name is Nicholas Mochiru, Head of Internal Audit, Mombasa County Executive.
Good morning. I'm Nurawad,
They're introducing
Accountant.
themselves, but you're not able to see them. Maybe it's good you just stand.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatma Yusuf, Accountant.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Omar Abdallah, Supply Chain Management.
Good morning. Ayub Ridwan, Director. Finance Officer, sorry.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Joan Jeroge, Administrator from the Governor's Office.
Good morning. Abdurrahman Abdallah, Personal Assistant to the Governor.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Harub Khatri, Speaker, Mombasa County Assembly.
Is that it for the visiting delegation? If that is the case, then we shall proceed very quickly to the next agenda item, which will be administration of oath and tabling of documents.
I, Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Anything I'm meant to sign? No, just read. Okay. Yeah.
Chair, I hereby table the following documents before the committee: management responses and accompanying annexures on the report of the Auditor General for the County Executive of Mombasa for the year 24-25, management responses and accompanying annexures on the report of the Auditor General on the receiver of revenue statements for the County Executive for the same year of 24-25, and management responses and annexures on the report of the Auditor General on the County Revenue Fund for the County Executive of Mombasa for the financial year 24-25.
Auditor General, could you confirm that the responses that have been tabled, you've been able to review?
Thank you, Chair. Can confirm that the responses were delivered to our offices on 28th May, and they were in the form and the manner that is prescribed, and we have been able to review the same, so we propose that the meeting can proceed.
Okay, Clerk of the Senate, is the entity in compliance?
Yes, Chairman, you can confirm that the entity submitted the documents within the timelines.
Okay, if that is the case, we will proceed, but we'll have to deal with one preliminary matter. When we sent the invitation to the Governor of Mombasa, we also indicated the resolution of the Senate. Because you did not find an opportunity to appear before this committee before the constitutional deadline of 31st of March, the Senate adopted the report of the Auditor General in its entirety. The Senate resolved that you would appear before this committee within a period of 30 days to furnish us with an update on the measures you are taking to implement the observations or recommendations of the Auditor General. The committee or the House further resolved to impose a fine of 500,000 Kenya shillings for failure to honor summons where you are supposed to appear before this committee on 30th of March ahead of the constitutional deadline. I want to find out from the Clerk of the Senate whether in our records, we have evidence that the fine has been paid.
Chairman, thank you, Chairman. We have received, today this morning, we have received a copy of the banker's check from the County Executive of, from the Governor, dated 4th June, of a banker's check addressed to the Senate, in favor of the Senate. So we can confirm that the payment has been made.
So there's a banker's check that has been addressed to the clerk?
Yes, there's a banker's check addressed to the clerk of the Senate.
I think in our letter communicating the fine, we had given a 2-week limit for settlement of the fine. But now that the clerk confirms that there's evidence that the fine has been paid, I think members, we do not need to belabor the point. We can take it that the governor has paid the fine, and we can now proceed with our substantive meeting. Now, we have 3 reports to deal with. We have the report of the County Executive, the report of the County Revenue Fund, and the report of the Receiver of Revenue. In our earlier brief with the Auditor General, we realized that there was a little problem in terms of the report that was tabled for the County Executive. You might have noted, maybe your technical people may have noted, that the report of the County Executive, page 1 and page 2 of the Auditor's certificate referred to the Receiver of Revenue rather than to the County Executive. And so, having reviewed that, we have found that it might not be very possible or very tenable for us to consider the report on the executive on account of that. I think it's a document management problem. When the Auditor General tabled the certificate, there was a mix-up on page 1 and page 2. Now, as you understand parliamentary practice, we cannot now use another document which was not tabled. They have the correct one, but since it was not tabled formally, we might not be able to rely on it because the affected parts are the qualifying issues to the financial statements. Because if you go by it, it will appear as if there was only one qualifying issue, and yet in the real report, there were about 6 or 7. As a result, having gone through that, We have agreed with the Auditor General that it is possible to deal with the receiver of revenue as we correct that problem on the County Executive. So today we will deal with the report of the receiver of revenue, which is not small because it's you had a 6.9 billion budget on that. And if we spend 1 or 2 hours or 1 hour or less on the receiver of revenue, then we'll schedule a separate date to deal with the County Executive once we retable the right report to the Senate. So as agreed, honourable members, we will start with the report of the receiver of revenue. Governor, I can see you are itching to say something.
No, I'm not itching, but in the spirit of fair administrative justice as well, if I was fined 500,000 shillings because I was not present, is someone taking responsibility for the fact that they did not table the documents the way they were meant to be tabled? Because even that 500,000, I had to, Faki helped me with some money, and the speaker, I'll bet he helped me a bit late, and some of my staff members were changa hapa. That's why today morning is when we were able to pay that 500,000.
Chair, Chair, just before.
Senator,
I think, Governor, that is a very dangerous path because the Senate requires that money comes from your pocket. Yes. You are admitting that we should refund the people who have contributed that money to you so that we get money from you. Secondly, the good thing with you is that...
If they give it to me, it's mine.
Just a minute.
Let's allow Senator Sifuna to...
Only the good thing is the governor has been a member of parliament. He has chaired committees similar to these ones. The consequences of failure to appear to the committee are in the standing orders. So I would want you, in your vast experience as a parliamentarian, that request that you've made, which standing order are you anchoring it on, or which law?
Chair, Senator Sifuna is asking me to wear a role that I once wore. Over the years, from the time that I was a member of parliament, an enabled member of parliament, and a seasoned member of parliament, and a seasoned chair, standing orders changed. But if given the opportunity, I don't mind actually going back and rereading those standing orders. But I am aware. And one of the things that has changed in Parliament as well is the Public Investment Committee was split into 3. Standing orders were actually changed during our time. CSs were not appearing. When you do an amendment, a certain section that was once section 1A could end up being section 1C. And since we're on camera here, allow me not to be able to indulge on something that, but I don't mind. I can actually go back. But moving forward,
no, I think, Governor, the House is sitting at 2:30, and one of the important things we are dealing with is mediation on, or dealing with the division of revenue and allocation of revenue and the money that comes to counties. And the Senate has insisted that counties must get 454 billion, a position that we hold firmly. So just to settle this matter so that we get into the report, the 500,000 shilling fine was imposed because you were found to be in contempt of Parliament. It is not because you didn't provide some document here and there, but we invited you specifically on 30th of March this year. You failed to appear without any justifiable reason. Some of your colleagues came. Governor Orengo was here, Governor Turukana was here, and a few others. We did not find them. So that fine is on account of contempt. I think the other matter is administrative, and we do understand that sometimes the problem can be on the part of the governor, sometimes the problem can be on the part of the auditor, sometimes it can be on the part of the Senate. So let's proceed. Let's not reopen the issue of the fine because it has now been settled.
I'm totally in agreement, Chair, and I want to appreciate the support of the Senate on devolution itself. The fact that the proposed equitable share, the revenue share for counties should be at 454. I want to also go on record, Chair, because this is something that is going to be picked up after next financial year as well. One of the major issues that is going to be a topic, and we hope that that is not what is going to happen, is the issue of UHC staff. Failure for UHC staff to be absorbed and their money to be as part of equitable share, there is going to be a challenge, Chair, because then those staff will have to be hired based on the fact that if it is conditional grants, they'll only be able to be hired based on that period, because not all counties can be able to afford a total cumulative figure for all counties would be 8.9 billion shillings. Not a subject for today, but I just wanted to state it on record that I appreciate the support that the Senate has been able to put forward on matters of devolution.
Senator Sifuna?
Chair, the last we had of this matter as the Senate was that the Council of Governors had reached an agreement with the Treasury. I think there was even indication by the national government that funds had been set aside in the current budget. Are you saying that was not the case, Governor?
No. What I'm saying is there's funds can be able to be set aside in two ways. They can be either in equitable share or they can be as conditional grants.
Yes.
If they're not going to be as equitable share, what is going to happen? Because anything can happen. A grant does not mean that that is going to be the status. Now, if an employee is permanent and pensionable, and the revenue that you're receiving is only pegged, the danger that is there, financial year, if in the wisdom of Treasury and conditional grants should not be there, then there's going to be a danger. Those people are going to, their budget is not going to be available. So it is important for that figure. I speak, one, as the Governor of Mombasa, two, as the Chair of the Health Committee of the Council of Governors, because this is something that is going to pop up. And our hope is that once the mediation has already been agreed on, and I think that one of the reasons why Senate has also proposed the figures to be at 454 is to be able to take into consideration that we have UHC staff, that money should not fall under conditional grants. As much as it has been allocated, the art and the act of how it was allocated, whether it is a conditional grant or it was part of equitable share, will have a huge bearing on the lives of those UHC doctors.
Now, Governor, there is a flip side, and help us understand, because we want to help the UHC staff. There have been many protests outside of our parliament here by those UHC staff. One of the problems we have with county governments is that when resources are not ring-fenced for a specific purpose, you find that you now will prioritize other things. If you ask the UHC workers themselves, they would want that money be clear that it is for UHC staff, so that we don't hear that you have decided, because when it comes as equitable share, you will decide that you want to do the stadium in Mombasa. So we have struggled as a Senate, for instance, on the question of pending bills, Senator. And in fact, there has been a conversation in the Senate that because this problem has persisted so long, Governor, and you guys are not at you guys, you as a council are not offering us a way out in terms of how we deal with this scourge of pending bills. We as a Senate have gotten to a place where we feel we should pay those contractors ourselves, those pending bills ourselves, because we release money, we pass motions, we even passed a motion setting timetables for clearance of pending bills, but it continues to persist. So how would you persuade skeptics such as myself who believe that governors and county governments, we feel we must tie your hands even further? That if money is for payment of CHPs, it has to go to CHPs. You cannot divert it to your milk program. If it is for payment of pending bills, let it be for pending bills. So how would you persuade us as the chair?
Maybe, Governor, before you respond, Senator Faki.
My answers. Recently, we had a motion to deduct funds from the county government of Meru for purposes of paying one of the legal charges for a pending bill. And members felt that it was only being done because he's a foreigner. But they also say that it is now time that we also do the same to our local contractors. I know pending bills of Mombasa are about 5 billion at the moment. Yeah, so we are thinking that that is the way to go, that the Treasury deducts some money and then pays directly the pending bills, instead of the current situation where the county government is given a free hand to choose which ones to pay, which ones not to pay. And I will agree with Senator Sifuna that when we were dealing with this DORA bill, the issue of the 8.5 billion for the CHP workers featured. And we are of the opinion that this money should be ring-fenced so that we are able to monitor that it goes directly to the CHPs rather than just, and then the county government chooses which one to pay. Thank you.
And Governor, I wish the documents were all in order so that we could have been able to look at even your pending bills in this report, because this report indicated that 77% of your debt, 77%, that was 2.9 billion out of a total of 3.8 billion. And it also indicated that out of the 3.8 billion, 1.2 billion was owed to staff. I think that's statutory deductions or pensions. That it's a very untidy picture. And that's why maybe Senator Sifuna is saying if we were to increase, because at 454 billion, our draft CARA is going to give Mombasa 9.2 billion. This year you got 7.9 billion. Was it 7.9? Sorry? 8.3 was 25-26 or 25 the current financial year. Yes. The year that we are reviewing, you got 7.9, then you got 8.3, and we are proposing that you get 9.2 billion. So, Senator Sifuna, perhaps to paraphrase, how do you ensure that that 9.2 billion or that extra 1.3 billion goes to settle the equivalent amount owed to staff, which is 1.3 billion?
First and foremost, and I say this with a lot of, and I want to state this, it is not about Mombasa being extra smart or anything else, but we have a good team, the team that I am able to work with. One, from the time of assuming office, we have never defaulted in paying any staff. And even when we pay simultaneously with all deductions, from money that is due to the pensions, to money that is due to all the others, to the unions. Everything is paid simultaneously, to all the statutory deductions and all. Do we have issues that are historic? Because even when you say that there's money that is due, that is employees' money, some of this money was historic from the time of municipal times. What is it that we are doing about it? As much as we are currently paying all our employees on time, and we are doing the statutory deductions on time, this can be attested not necessarily by myself, but it can be attested from the county pension fund, from the lab trust, from KRA, from the housing levy, and everyone else that we are meant to be paying. But we've also been in conversation with the county pension fund. We've been in conversation with the lab trust. We made a payment to the lab trust. As a matter of fact, we have reduced. There were people whose gratuity had not been paid from the time I was in high school. Some of them have even passed on. And we have reduced all that level of gratuity. If I'm not right now we are at which year? We have reduced from all the way from the 80s, we are currently at 2023. So as we are paying everyone, We are also reducing on an aging analysis. Though that is now on issues to do with staff. On issues to do with the CHPs, again, Mombasa, first of all, started paying CHPs. It was a decision we took to pay CHPs before even there was the national government arrangement to be able to work on this. Are there counties that have not followed suit? By all means, yes. There are counties, but are there many? No. There are a small minority of counties that have not been able to follow suit on this. The issues of putting money like UHC and the CHPs, we're the ones who are dealing with the CHPs on a day-to-day basis. What happens is they get their stipend from the county government, then they have to wait for national government, whether national government will be able to pay them on time or not on time. If there's an error of a telephone number, if someone has shifted, if someone has passed away, by the time that information is done, there's already a loophole where there are some payments that are already would have already been done. And sometimes people are paid in arrears. There was a time they were paid a couple of months in arrears because they had not been paid prior. So the argument is, why don't we have one pocket to be able to pay? Even for the CHPs, it's not a problem. It can actually come in as a conditional grant. Because if it comes in as a conditional grant, the money for the CHPs, it is put into a joint account where then it is now dispersed, where you cannot be able to spend that money until you put in a matching amount. That is something that has been done previously. But for the UHC staff, let me state it here, Chair. If you put that money for the UHC staff as a conditional grant, what that means basically is next year, it is conditions precedence on whether government will be of the opinion or of the view that yes, we need to be able to continue giving. And the agreement that is there is that these UHC staff are meant to be hired on a permanent and pensionable basis. So if you provide funding to pay their salaries for 1 year, and then counties have gone and absorbed them on permanent and pensionable, and then the year after, someone says that no, we should not be paying this conditional grant anymore, there are counties that are going to, on the flip side of things, there are counties that are going to be in quite a problem. Collectively, these figures just for the UHC staff is 8.9 billion. Unless, of course, the conditional grants come in, and then in the wisdom of Parliament and in the wisdom of Treasury, by the way, this is not even an argument by ourselves. This is an argument that the Ministry of Health actually wrote to the Commission for Revenue Allocation, indicating that when they are doing their proposal on what should be the revenue and the equitable share, they did do this. There's a letter that was done by the Ministry of Health indicating that they need to include that 8.9 billion first.
Now, Governor, you have a lot of background on this as a chair of the Health Committee. I think let's come back to the numbers, but we hear you. Your contribution will guide us when we are making our debate on the matter. We thought that ring fencing it would be to give hope to the UHC workers. We've thought that ring fencing, we must find a way of ring fencing an allocation for settlement of pending bills, but we are also aware that budgeting is the domain of the county assembly. And perhaps what Senate can do is to make certain recommendations to the county assemblies that now that we have increased the allocation to Mombasa County, perhaps you need to prioritize this 3 billion that has been outstanding for over 3 years. I think we cannot direct the assembly. We can only advise the assembly on that.
Chair, I love the concept of actually ring fencing for purposes of paying pending bills. In fact, this is a proposal that I sent a very, very long time. I did this proposal the first year I was in office to Treasury. But I think the whole concept itself was very, very new. When you ring fence and you said that this is an amount of money that we need to be able to pay for purposes of paying pending bills, the argument was, if I invoke the fact that I have a good working relation with financial institutions and that I'm not someone who goes and takes money from this pocket to pay this other pocket. And financial institutions are ready. And they say that, you know, if you're pending bills, you have been able to commit 1 billion shillings. And I know that you can be able to pay this 1 billion shillings. Allow me to advance this 1 billion shillings to those people who are. A number of you here are lawyers, and you will also agree with me that one of the biggest challenges that is there on matters of pending bills is the fact that when you don't settle a bill today, tomorrow it does not become a bill anymore. It becomes double or triple that bill. This is a county government that I've seen situations where someone has even dared to try and give us a pending bill of what it is that is being allocated to this whole county government. And there's nothing that even surprises me anymore. Having been where you are seated, I have seen situations where a pending bill, someone in the courts decided and made a decision that it is okay to actually attach, even national food reserves. And the last time that I checked is that the law does not exist in a vacuum. Whatever it is that we do, I agree with you. If you actually put that proposal, it would, for argument's sake, I'm one of those proponents. And I've said this, and I know that it is not something that might augur well with others, but I'm one of those proponents who actually feels that statutory deductions can be deducted at source. It's just that the law currently, the PFM does not allow it. But the reason I say this is because I'm currently financing taxes.
I think let's leave it there. You have said something that we have thought through, we have wanted to propose, and I'm happy it is coming from a governor.
I want to state it. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Council of Governors, Chair.
At the risk of time, I want us to come back to the numbers.
Chair, as we go back to the numbers, allow me to make this comment, especially about CHPs and UHC staff. You know, Chair, this matter came up yesterday when we were dealing with Kericho. And it came up again on the floor, and I had Senator Dulo propose something to the effect that maybe this health thing, we may have to think whether it is where it is supposed to be. You know, Governor, for you and for the other governors, and maybe even for the Senate, it's an audit query that we just have to clear and move on to other things. But for those frontline staff in the health sector, who are very, very critical, it's a matter of life and death. I think a wider conversation needs to happen about the payment for CHPs and UHC staff. And we decide as a country once and for all who takes the ultimate final responsibility over these people. And how are they going to be remunerated for the critical services that they offer?
Honourable members, those are policy conversations. Let's come to the numbers. Governor, you have said you run a very good team, which we are not in any doubt. But I was asking myself, why, who's Robert Murunga in the organization?
He's the Assistant Director of Finance.
And he was a signatory to the financial statements?
Yes.
If he's an assistant director, that means that there is a director.
Do we have a director in that? No, we don't have a substantive. You will, and I know the next question will be why. Allow me to be able to just give it up this is a county chair that we have a lot of people. There's attrition, and there's many other factors that are involved. Two, you will also agree that there's an independence of the County Public Service Board. There's been a lot of adverts that have been going out, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the adverts that have already gone out. It is the purview of the County Public Service Board to be able to fill that position.
I was happy to hear someone introduce themselves as the chair of the audit committee. I hope the internal auditor is also part of this delegation. Internal, are you substantive? Substantive or assistant? Okay, that's fine. Members, let's go to the report on the receipt of revenue. The report on the receipt of revenue indicates that Mombasa had planned to collect 6.9 billion Kenya shillings, and Mombasa only collected 4.8 billion Kenya shillings, which was a significant shortfall. And out of the 4.8 billion, 1.4 billion came from hospital fees. In our analysis, before we go to the policy issues, I think in our analysis with the Auditor General, we felt there was need for us to evaluate the performance of on-source revenue, one, against the budget, and two, to compare with prior years. The Parliamentary Budget Office did a small analysis that indicates that there are certain streams where performance is deteriorating, is going down, rather than going up, despite economic indicators. So I know there's only one qualifying matter on the receipt of revenue, which is an accounting issue, really, which I think we have agreed we won't waste too much time on, because OAG, what was the qualifying matter on the ROR?
Thank you, Chair. It was on inaccurate receivable from non-exchange transactions.
And if you describe it in English, what are you saying? Or in Swahili? Lena, try to explain it in Swahili.
There was non-disclosure of a
that is English.
Chair, there was a non-disclosure of a significant amount, which is about 6.9 billion.
Hiyo pesa imeibiwa.
It's bookkeeping.
It's bookkeeping?
Yeah.
Is it a very material non-disclosure?
It is something that can be dealt with in the subsequent audit.
Can you assure the people of Mombasa that this 6.9 billion is not money lost?
No, Chair. It is not money. The amount that I've just stated was not lost.
So by not disclosing, what is the risk to the county government and to the people of Mombasa?
Chair, the financial statement should be accurate, and it should be a guide to the policy users and also other stakeholders. So as a county government, it is prudent that you disclose figures where they are required.
This 6.9, you call it arrears of revenue. What do you mean when you say arrears of revenue of 6.9 billion was not disclosed? Ni deni ambayo Senator Faki, you might want to help us in interpretation.
Ni madeni county inadai ama ni pesa ambazo haziwezi kukusanywa?
There are debts owed to the county government, but they relate to a very long period of time. They are basically historical. They are unable to collect.
The county nadai.
Nadai, yes.
So, pengine, no, I think it's the governor who needs to tell us. This 6.9, it was not disclosed. The auditor says it's an accounting matter. It is not loss of funds. But what does it relate to? So that we don't take too much time on accounting issues.
Chair, in Kiswahili or English, because I'm seeing this session is going in both languages.
There
matters that are land rate issues. It is unfortunate. One of the things the pension fund to be able to work is digitizing the issues of our land records. We try to do this on our own. Unfortunately, access to Ministry of Land Record was not very, very cooperative in the sense that they did not feel that it is prudent for an outsider to come in. But the County Pension Fund, I think, has already done something similar. If I'm not mistaken, one of the things that it was the county government of Laikipia or one of the other counties where they did do the digitization. So we already have an agreement with them. We have to clean our land records.
Now, Governor, you're basically doing a write-off through the back door.
No.
That is what you're doing.
No, Chair.
By not presenting them as assets, because these are assets, isn't it? Arrears are supposed to be, by excluding them, it is a write-off. What Laikipia did, and I think I like the approach they took, they went through a process.
Which is what we're doing now.
They just didn't drop them from the financial statements. There was a committee, there were some processes in line with the PFM.
Chair, maybe we're not writing off anything. There has never been a process for us to even start thinking of writing off anything. What we are simply doing is, when you have a mother title, and you're going to expect, in fact, the fact that we are still reaching these figures is something else altogether. It means that there's extra effort being put in. When you have a mother title, and that mother title gets subdivided, what happens is someone takes that and goes to the Ministry of Lands and they register it there, but there is nowhere that talks of the joint between registering at the lands and registering at the county offices. There's something else that we need to be able to work on, especially for urban areas. This is sectional titles. When a property like this, which was once one floor, and then you now make a decision to take that mother title and divide it into many sectional titles, you're losing out on this. So what you feel is actually yours is not necessarily in existence anymore. So what we are doing, when I said what we are doing, allow me just to finish, Senator. What we are doing is not writing off anything. What we are doing is cleaning off records to find out, because you will end up realizing that some of these properties, what you feel is being owed to one person, that we have to be paid by one person, in actual fact, we might end up having to be paid more by many other people, but in smaller lump sums.
Okay, Senator Maruma.
No, I'm saying, Governor, that in your response, the reason that you've given for not disclosing is that it's a historical balance assessed as having low probability of recovery. You know, anything that we do must really be located in law or in policy. Where did you locate that, either in policy or in law? Because the reason is low probability of recovery. And I agree with the chair that you want to write off through the back door.
Let's take one more question from Senator Faki.
Chair, maybe the auditor could tell us the 6.9 billion, is it rates only, or there are other revenue streams that are affected? Number two, if going by what the governor is saying, you know, when you subdivide the land, you subdivide your piece of land, the subdivision certificate is given out by the county. So the county knows that we have subdivided plot number 1 into 100 plots. Yeah? And they have a right to go to the land registry to get particulars of the registration of the people who are being now registered to own those particular plots. Even with the sectional properties, the ratepayer will remain the owner of the building. But the law has been amended now such that even the owners of the sectional property, the flats or apartments, are able to pay rates because they are enjoying services like roads, water, sewage, and all that. They're supposed to pay for that also. So both the landowner, that the head lessee, and the lessees who are now owning the apartments are supposed to pay something to that. And I see maybe they had given a fresh contract for revenue collection. I think you'll come to that. I think those are the issues that the new provider of the service should have gone into, so that we have no revenue loss in any given financial year. At the moment, it seems that the duplication has not assisted the county in managing the revenues that are supposed to be collected from the people in Mombasa.
And before Governor responds, Auditor, there was a question on the makeup of that 6 billion. You're referring to Appendix 2, but we don't seem to, I don't know whether members you've been able to see it, because if you had a visibility on Appendix 2, we would have been able to see the breakdown. The Appendix 2 referred to. As you get the answer, Senator Gataya can go on record.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Senator Mwenda Gataya, Tharaka-Nithi member of this committee.
Okay, could you just point us to Appendix 2 so that we refer to it as a Governor response?
Chair, what I can confirm is that it was affecting several revenue streams.
No, do you have Appendix 2 here? Because I've just seen an appendix with prior year issues. I've not seen the Appendix 2. It would have been very useful to see how that 6 billion was broken down. Because if there are things like silos, collection in lieu of rates, those ones we know that there are problems. But if they are just the normal rates, there has to be a process for write-off, a process for waiver before they are dropped from the financial statements. Auditor?
I can confirm we are not seized of that particular appendix, but what we verified was several revenue streams, and maybe the governor can clarify on the makeup of that.
Yeah, because the problem is that if you don't have the schedule, the governor will start describing, and this is a mathematical session. So we should spare him the pain of describing what the 6 billion entails if you had that schedule. But Governor,
Chair,
you may respond.
Without any pain, 6.7 billion is actually from land rates. The rest is split into all the other. The 0.2 is split onto all the others, including business permits and the rest. There's a lot of issues that have been raised, and I don't know, because I know that they're going to be coming up in subsequent questions, like the issue of the company that we were able to put into place.
The revenue collection system. We can deal with it substantively when we come to that matter.
I seek your guidance. It is up to the way you will guide me, because the senator had raised it, and I wanted to just. But this is one. I want to give Amanda oath here. There is nothing like we want to do any wipe off. When we say historic and the likelihood. Again, there's also legal provisions where if something is as old as 6 years plus, two, there are some of these things that we have tried to be able to do. We even went ahead and tried to even get on board debt collectors for this. There's a lot. When you're running an institution like this, Chair, there's a lot. One of the other things that we, and I think that is going to be the only way out for us to be able to properly verify on these particular matters, is once we have the proper digitization in place. Because the digitization is going to go hand in hand with the GIS map, and it is going to now pinpoint exactly this property is here and this property is here. You will realize the last digitization that was done for these particular records was probably, so that last attempt that was done to even digitize these records was probably, was it 20 years ago? And then the way the system and technology then, the way it was, if an error was done, instead of an A, an I was put in, everything reads differently. And that is the reason why the digitization that we want to do, mapping it out and putting it together with the GIS lab to confirm and fix every single piece of title like a jigsaw puzzle. That is the only way that we can be able to sort these problems. I agree with
Governor, just wind it up so that we go to the numbers.
I agree with the
some
senator,
of those issues
the way
are in
he
the
said
report.
that the senator raised, he didn't raise, but he stated a statement of fact that when a subdivision is done, the county government is the one that does the issues the necessary certificates. But then now again, it is a manual process from us, because even after you've done the subdivision in the county, it does not necessarily mean that titles have been issued already. So right now we have to do a manual process of sending our people to the Ministry of Lands, confirming what are the new titles that have been put in. Right now we're in the process. We're struggling, but we're getting there on issues of sectional properties as well.
Okay, let's go to the numbers. Let's go to the next matter. But we are exiting by giving guidance that receivables from exchange and non-exchange transactions must be fully disclosed. And I think we are agreeing here that that disclosure, that correction can only be done at the end of the subsequent financial year. Auditor General, isn't that the treatment?
Yeah, that's very correct.
And we are also saying that there should be no write-off, no waiver, without following the provisions in the Act and in regulations.
By all means.
Fine.
Chair, now that you have ruled, I think we just move on, because that's a basis for qualification, and we have been referenced to Appendix 2. That Appendix 2 is not available. So all we are doing here is just narrative. I mean, what are we saying? So you have referenced Appendix 2, which would have helped us to look at the figures and deal with real numbers.
Chair, just to add on to what Senator Wua said, maybe we need evidence of effort to recover this money. You put up a notice, for example, of waivers. We need that in our appendices, effort to recover that money. And also we need to see the figures in terms of when the default was committed, and whether we had a task force, having an effort to get this money paid. Did we write to the Assembly, maybe to have the waivers maybe sanctioned? All those.
Senator, I want to restate it.
Governor,
there are no waivers.
Just let order, Governor. Let the senator just conclude.
Just evidence of that effort.
I could also give some guidance on even on how we respond on that, because I think what the auditor has cited is inaccurate receivables. Actually, more or less non-disclosure, isn't it? Otherwise, it would have been long outstanding revenue arrears. So let me guide so that we go to the next issue, which talks about budget versus realization, and we go stream by stream. And this conversation, I think many of the questions are going to be answered. So, Auditor, let's go to your next issue, which is budgetary control and performance. And Senator Wambua, I agree with your frustration on the absence of Appendix 2. I think we will deal with that internally.
Thank you, Chair. Budgetary control and performance. The statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects final target revenue budget and actual amounts on a comparable basis of 6,930,655,697 and Kenya shillings 4,880,829,952 respectively, resulting in under collection of 2,049,825,746, or 30% of the budget. The under collection affected the implementation of planned activities and may have impacted negatively on service delivery to the residents of Mombasa.
Okay. Usually we allow the governor to respond. I think we should do so. Read your written response, and then we will ask some questions.
Chair, The shortfall in on-source revenue was largely driven by underperformance in key revenue streams, notably land rates, SPP, market fees, physical planning and development, cess, conservancy, administration and property rent. Underperformance in these high-yield streams constrained cash availability and adversely affected the implementation of the planned programs and service delivery. The underperformance was further compounded by data and structural constraint, including the absence of an up-to-date business registrar, delayed updating of the valuation roll due to ongoing litigation, and incomplete land records, which affected revenue planning, billing accuracy, and enforcement. Amongst the corrective measures that we are currently doing, should I read this verbatim as well?
Yeah, I think just go through it.
Okay. To address the identified challenges and enhance on-source revenue performance, the county has implemented the following corrective measures. Business mapping and revenue-based expansion. The county engaged a consultant to undertake a comprehensive business mapping exercise to establish an accurate database of businesses operating within the county. The intervention is expected to improve the performance of single business permits and market fees through improved identification, billing, and compliance. Digitization of our land records in light of delays in updating the valuation roll arising from ongoing litigation and incomplete land records. The county has commenced digitization of land records and property records. This process will support the timely updating of the valuation roll upon conclusion of legal process and enhance land rates administration and enforcement. Automated revenue collection system. County continues to expand and strengthen automated revenue collection system, improve revenue capture, reconciliation and reporting across major revenue streams, including land rates, parking fees, permits, and market fees. Capacity building for revenue collection officers. We have targeted training programs that have been implemented to enhance the skills and effectiveness of revenue officers in billing, enforcement, customer engagement, and use of automated system. Enhanced enforcement and compliance measures. Enforcement mechanism have been strengthened to address non-compliance, reduce leakages, and improve recovery, particularly in land rates, cess, and business permits. Improve of revenue collection centers. We have revenue collection centers are being upgraded and optimized to improve accessibility, efficiency, and service delivery, thereby supporting improved compliance and revenue performance. These measures are aimed at addressing the root causes of underperformance, strengthening revenue administration, improving on-source revenue mobility.
Around the explanation, we must your financial statements, particularly where you have properly summarized your streams and their performance, because you have given global reasons for the underperformance. You are required to give specific explanation where there is an underperformance or an. I think if we look at that, it can help us.
Maybe the governor may want to confirm the administration charges, the one that are performed much better. There is the greatest improvement in it from the.
This is what I had wanted to request. The able senator is reading.
No. Let me give guidance in your financial statements. The supplementary one and your actual. So I think we can use that. But what Senator Wambua is referring to would be comparative of prior years, which is a document that belongs to you as an organization. The only advantage he has is that it's analyzed. It's analyzed stream by stream.
That's what I'm saying, Chair.
Yeah.
And that has been analyzed. So I can also.
That's in order.
Yeah.
Clerks, just share that document with the governor so that it can help us. I think it's a 3-year analysis, performance trend analysis. So Senator Wambua, could you allow me that we don't start with conservancy? Well, let's start with the first stream. We just go through all the streams.
That's okay, Chair.
Now that the governor has a schedule. So maybe let's start with let's start from the top, Governor. You had on cess you collected 520 million, and
from on my side as well.
No,
because you see, because there's some on face value. I do not want to start immediately stating that the figures are actually wrong or right. One thing I can confirm, is collectively over the years, collectively, even without necessarily amending the Finance Act or adding more taxes, the county government of Mombasa has been increasing its own source revenue.
Governor, I don't know why you are jittery.
No, Chair.
I don't know what's scary.
Chair, with my permission. Governor, it's a very simple exercise. We go through the list, and if there are any discrepancies between what prepared and the financials, we will see where we are not unreasonable.
In fact, in your financial statements, there is a statement there on statement of comparison of budget versus actual amounts. That's on the financial statements.
Impediment to underperformance and issues that were there. And so in mitigation, what have you done to make sure enforcement is done? Chair, as you say, if that money is not collected this year, it will be collected next year. But when you delay in collection of money, then there would be services that would be missed out. So maybe in mitigation, briefly, Governor would want to hear what you say so that we can mitigate in these challenges.
We take a comment from Senator Faki.
Chair, one of the other aspects that maybe the governor doesn't want to talk about is this invasion by squatters. Because a squatter, anything. I, as a landowner, for instance, am invaded by squatters. The structures have an approval from the county government.
No.
Just a moment.
No. Hear me out.
No. Just allow him to.
Allow him to finish.
Approval from the county government. If there's no approval, then there's acquiescence that I cannot. The county government has allowed, in a way, that structure are residing therein. So I, as a landowner, don't feel the need to pay the rates because my property is not protected.
Because then it should cut across. It wouldn't explain that financial year.
It's an ongoing.
Okay.
It's an ongoing. So that could be one of the factors that people are saying, I can't pay rates when my land is occupied by some other people.
Could be what they have stated here as unclear property ownership, isn't it?
Not necessarily. It's not necessary.
Okay.
Yes.
Chair, what my able senator is talking about is something that is not just unique in Mombasa alone. One of the major challenges that the coastal region has faced is issues to do with land. There's two types. Of course, there are those genuine squatters, people who actually have lived there, they've buried their loved ones there. And then, of course, there are those ones now who actually invaded. And with today's technology, you can easily be able to tell. With Google Maps, you can actually be able to tell by this state, this is the status of the land, and this is how the status of the land is now. However, the reason why these particular buildings were not done, in fact, it is one of the things that we're working on now.
When you apply in our system for building, first of all, it has to have that title deed. 2, you cannot be able to get a clearance to build unless your land rights are cleared. So majority of these buildings that he's saying maybe they have, I cannot be able to confirm or protect, because in any organization there must be 1 or 2 bad apples. Whether there are people out there who are protecting people who are doing illegal construction, I'm sure if I even dare to say that County Government of Mombasa is surrounded and all my employees are angels, I will be in contempt. When people end up building, these are illegal constructions that were actually put up. One of the things that we are doing right now, and we are hoping to be able to sign this up before. I've told the team that because the contract for the revenue collection is finishing, I think, is it in November or thereabouts? And we've opted, let us just advertise. One of the things that we want to do is to also advertise on issues to do with illegal construction. So with today's technology, we get a company that can actually be able to give a digital mapping of Mombasa, and actually pinpoint that at this particular point, there's construction going on, but it does not tally with whether we received confirmation by someone applying for actually building in that area. It's simple technology. They use satellite images, and they can be able to now. So that is one of the things we're doing to try and safeguard the accuracy of what we're after is up to a certain amount of meters. So that means unless you build a barbed wire fence is what might not be able to be caught, but more than that will definitely be caught. This is also now on terms of the building inspections and so forth. Allow me not to get into the nitty-gritties of this, but the issue of the valuation role is actually a valid query that has actually been raised by the auditor in the main audit report, not this one for the revenue. And this is a very old valuation role. Chair, we were taken to court by 6,000 cases. Yes. We were taken to court, there were 6,000 cases where we were taken to court. And the people raised many issues. A lot of issues were actually raised. And then when I got into office, what I did is I took precedence of a court ruling that was done. If I'm not mistaken, it was in Nakuru, where what we had to do was now listen to all those 6,000 cases. I formed the whole, there's a panel, is it the Land Valuation Court? Thank you, Senator. And then now it was even challenged again that the Valuation Court has to be validated by the Chief Justice. We got the Chief Justice to actually evaluate that Valuation Court itself. But the process is not as easy as a walk, especially in an urban area. And one of the major reasons, Chair, why this has been raised with a lot of objections is the issues that I raised earlier. When someone had a property 20 years ago and they actually sold that property 20 years ago, then there were many titles that were registered with the Ministry of Lands and the Registrar of Titles, but then those titles were not registered to us. So when people started seeing their names popping up, that why am I being told that I have land and I don't have land? These are some of the cases that were actually filed. So with that, one has to come before the other. And it is our view that with the digitization we want to do with the County Pension Fund, which we have already signed off with, it is our view that if we are able to do that, then it will be a win for Mombasa on this. Even the valuation will be faster, more efficient. In fact, the current Rating Act that was passed by this very House, if I'm not mistaken, talks about a valuation role has to be changed every 5 years. Every 5 years. There's also another issue that is there, which is, again, in relation to the valuation role. People have a tendency or a feeling that if you change the valuation role, then that means the amount of money that they will have to pay will be a very, very huge increase. Vis-a-vis, our argument is that you can always reduce the percentage paid on a value of a property. But this is public participation that can only be done once we have done the proper digitization of this. So the part where you talked about, which was being raised here, was this unclear property ownership. Is exactly that.
Okay,
that
I think, Governor, you have explained sufficiently. Fortunately, you are the senator from Mombasa, Senator Faki, is also the chair of lands. And this question of valuation role is not just an accounting problem. It is a serious policy matter which perhaps the relevant departmental committee could perhaps do an inquiry, because every county that has come before us has cited challenges. Kiambu tried it, they were taken to court. Nairobi tried it. I don't know whether they've been taken to court. I cannot recall any county that has successfully updated their valuation role and used it for rating purposes. And Governor also cites challenges from the judiciary.
Those who overcome, we were able, it was actually someone who went to court and actually stated that you cannot have a situation where, by the way, Chair, there's something else. You know this issue of the valuation court as well. The previous valuation, the Rating Act, the previous one, before the one that was done by the Senate, talked about town clerks, that the town clerk is the one who's going to appoint all this. So they were overtaken by constitutional, the new constitutional dispensation that we currently are in. So with the new one that was put into place, then someone went to court and said that, you know, you cannot have the executive being the judiciary as well. So then a ruling was made that the valuation court has to be gazetted and accepted by the Chief Justice, which we were able to overcome that process.
Okay. Senator Faki?
You know, Chairman, the previous valuation court, valuation rating for the Rating Act, it had a valuation court within the provisions of the Act, where now the valuation court was being appointed by the town clerk, and then there were members also within that framework. But now with the new constitution, all matters dealing with land are supposed to be arbitrated by the Land and Environment Court. So the Chief Justice has to gazette somebody as now chair of the valuation court, just like the other tribunals that are available. And therefore, that's now the process of proceeding in evaluation. I'm yet to look at the current Rating Act, whether it has similar provisions in terms of evaluation role and so on and so forth. But yes, it has been a problem. Even Mombasa previously, before they implemented the current valuation role, the last valuation was done in 1991. That's the last time they did evaluation. And in 1991, after that, it was implemented, I think, in the late 1990s. Because after that, it underwent through the valuation court. People challenged the valuations because they said that in some instances, the municipal council was not offering any services. But the values were much higher than what was expected. So I think I'll take it up with my committee.
I think we have the right person in that committee. We have the right person in that committee.
Maybe what we need to be clear about is what Senator Faki is saying. Are we using the 1991 role up to date? Or do you have a newer role?
By the way, I think there are some counties that don't even have a valuation role.
And you know, if we even packed those challenges, there is the other element of enforcement. And as we have demonstrated here, your enforcement is weak because you have collected less than you collected in the prior year. Thankfully, it remains as, you call them non-exchange transactions. receivables from non-exchange transactions that will be carried forward in subsequent years. Let me allow Senator Cherargei to go on record, and then we proceed.
Chair, thank you. I've been following online. My apologies for coming late. I was dealing with COG Chair in another committee over other matters of VCD. Cherargei, which is my name, Senator of the Republic of Kenya, representing the great people of Nandi. Chair, I am excited because it's miraculous that the county government of Mombasa has finally appeared before this committee. We have seen litany of postponement. My only question on the receiver of revenue governor, and you are the former chair, I think, of some audit committee in the National Assembly. I can see, Chair, the projection of Mombasa County was 6.9 billion, but you ended up collecting 4.8 billion. Through the chair, what is the major reason that is causing you to collect, missing a target of almost over 2 billion Kenya shillings? And finally, Chair, I have seen on the issue of valuation, and Governor, you need to be careful. You don't say some other counties. We are talking about Mombasa. I have seen there is a letter dated 14 April 2026 that you want to initiate valuation process. So my concern is, what are the budgetary allocation? Is it in your ADP and the annual development plan and the projection, and what is the budgetary allocation, so that this valuation process, and I'm happy your senator, who is a ranking member of the House through the chair, said something about rating. So how long does it take? Because from 91 to now, and I've seen CRA projection, which is putting you way beyond 10 billion if you maximize all your revenue streams. So how long are we looking at? So, Chair, my question is, why the missed target of almost 2 billion plus, and what is the length of this valuation process so that they maximize their revenue streams? Chair, I yield back.
I think you found us discussing exactly what you have asked in the first question, because we're going stream by stream to see where the underperformance was. And so perhaps to avoid giving, I don't want you to give a global answer, Order Governor. I don't want you to give a global answer. I want us to continue with the stream by stream analysis. On the valuation role, I think a lot has been said. We were almost giving the governor a deadline, but it is emerging that there are serious statutory and policy issues that the Senate needs to give guidance on. Because I don't know, Senator Cherargei, whether any county has come before us that has an updated valuation role.
I think, Chair, there are a number. There are
Which
a number, even your Vice Chair is aware. There are a number, unless I'll check my notes.
I know Bomet made some progress, the Assembly approved, but in terms of applying it to rating, none of them.
Of course, because of the challenges of finance bill and challenges of that resistance. But Chair, there is a letter, and then what is the purpose of this letter that the governor has attached in is not paginated? Governor, you are an organized man. What happened? This one is not paginated.
It is.
The one on this one, I can't see anything. It talks about the one on request to initiate valuation process.
Maybe can I be able to state and clarify on those?
Just deal with that. Okay. On the global question, I think we will go the stream by stream approach that we are taking.
Okay.
Chair, Senator Cherargei raised an issue of a letter dated 2026. Anyone who is appointed by the governor or any has a time frame and a time limit. So this is to initiate finance. We're actually asking. The letter that he's referring to is from finance going, it is an internal letter from finance going to the Department of Lands, telling them to initiate. The fact that the team that was there before, the valuation role that was there before, its time had already expired. I started by stating this, and I would have really hoped that that would have been here, but it is something that we can be able to avail, communication between ourselves and the Chief Justice, appointment letters, gazettement of that valuation role that was there. But when you're taken to court and then these cases are literally in thousands, my view is having looked at what were the major issues
that were there on matters of the court cases that were being presented, you had a lot of people stating that you're putting me on a valuation role when actually this is my late father and he's no longer there, or this is something that I no longer own. So the only way that this can be done is through a proper digitization where we can be able to...
I think, Governor, leave it. You are repeating what you had stated. We'll bring Senator Cherargei up to speed. Because you
in fact, I wanted to ask you,
you had already put that on record.
Cherargei said
no, let's proceed.
Okay.
Let us proceed to the next stream.
Yeah, on similar vein, just with your indulgence, then why would you say submit a valuation report if there are those legal and policy challenges? Then is it frozen at that point?
No, I think we are the ones who have come to the conclusion that it is such a broad matter that if we put a specific governor on a specific deadline, they'll find that there are statutory issues, there are problems at the judiciary, some gazettement regulations that the judiciary is supposed to undertake. And this is a matter that we are now asking the Lands Committee to deal with substantively. Allow us to answer your first question, to go to the single business permit stream. Again, Governor, your budget was 967 million. You collected only 51%, 494 million. And compared to prior year, that was a drop of 105 million on single business permit. Can we first see the reason that your receiver of revenue gave?
Chair, may I read these reasons and also give you the other reasons that are also well known to me?
Yeah. Let's first read the reason.
Okay. The reasons is the revenue stream underperformed, possibly due to reduced business activity. Again, they've used the word possibly. They're not definitive in their...
And you agree with me that it's a problem?
I'm in agreement. Weak enforcement mechanisms or delays in permit renewals. Now, let me just explain, Chair, the true...
Proceed.
The county government of Mombasa signed a contract. We advertised. We realized we have a system. This system was actually developed by the World Bank. The system that was developed by the World Bank is very static by nature. Static in the sense that all someone has to do, and by the way, not saying that it was a bad system, it was an excellent system. It has served the county government of Mombasa for a long time, and it served Mombasa very, very well. But the thing is, it was dependent on someone doing a self-analysis that I'm analyzing myself, and I'm filling in the details, and I want to be able to get my SBP. Then what happens thereafter is we now have to have a situation where at the end of every year, someone does an auto-renewal. Then you have people who are now moving, going around and knocking on doors and saying that, where's your SPP, where's your SPP? This was good then, but now we have technology. So what we advertised for was the mapping of the whole of Mombasa. That means someone that can be able to take the GIS lab that we have, add all the shops that are there, and say that, okay, this is the shop that is here, and give a digital footprint that if this is Bunge Towers, if at all, and I'm not saying that Bunge needs to have businesses here, but if at Bunge Towers, then we have this amount of businesses that are here, and that kind of mapping was meant to be updated on a regular basis. It was also meant to have the satellite cover as well, to indicate all these areas that are there. We signed this contract, we advertised, but we had people who bid, and when did we? December 2024. The way this SPP operates in Mombasa is it is not based on an annual financial year basis. It is based on a calendar year. That means your SPP expires by the end of December and you start paying by the end of January. So January, February, March, you start seeing an increase in revenue collection. Because of the change, because we signed this in December, because of the change in January, we saw a huge decline in January. However, it means that there was a spillover after June because a lot of people ended up continuously paying. So you will now see a net effect of these figures having gone higher in the next financial year.
Governor, let's go back to the numbers. That does not explain a 105 million drop. In fact, in the year under review, you collected even far much less than the 2022-2023 financial year, which had its own challenges, being people coming out of elections. That does not explain it.
Actually, Chair,
it cannot account for a 105 million drop.
We can provide the annual monthly collections for the committee to be able to actually see which particular months are the ones that we see an increase on and which is the particular months that we see a non-increase on. And you will realize that as much as for purposes of audit reporting, there was a drop here, you will realize that in the subsequent months, which of course means that it is now in the other financial year, there was an increase.
Chair.
Senator,
that's on a procedural matter and in the interest of time. Can I agree with you? Can the governor be specific? There was a drop of 105. Can he say maybe 10 stalls were closed or some revenue officers did not collect? Or what is it? You know, I'm getting a lot of linguistics because numbers are very specific. Governor, you should tell us you are collecting 100 stalls. But because maybe you are building a new market and you demolish that, you need to build a new one. That is what caused the shortfall. Because I am really trying, Chair, to understand what caused this drop. If you can give us, then I'll be comfortable to understand this fall of over 2 billion plus. Because if you can explain those details, and they say the devil is in the details, can you tell us that shortfall in mathematical language?
And I think it's not unfair what Senator Cherargei is asking, because there's someone in the PFM Act called the Receiver of Revenue. The Receiver of Revenue, the job description comes from statute. It's not drafted by the County Public Service Board. It's in the Act and regulations. The Receiver of Revenue should be able to explain, not to speculate, that it was possibly due to A, B, C, D. And I'm surprised, Governor, that the explanation you have given around systems did not find its way in any of the formal reports of the Receiver of Revenue. And if indeed it was so, as we started from the onset, that if it was my business, if I was running a mafia of collecting rent from business people, and my enforcers tell me that it has dropped by 100 million, I must get an explanation. And I also believe that you have mapped Mombasa in terms of...
Actually, Chair, I want to give a disclaimer, put a disclaimer on that. We advertise for mapping. Maybe let me just explain it. I will not be here on record and mislead by saying that the business is shut down, because that is far from the truth.
Though that's the reason that we are having on the record here.
I'm repeating again, Chair, this is something that I will be handling with my team, because data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, data from the tourism sector, data from the transport sector, all indications. In fact, I'm also proud to state that one of the things that this government was able to do was reverse on the issues of port services being leveled back into Mombasa. So it is not about businesses being shut down. We have to be realistic, and I'm now stating the way it is. I will not stand here or sit here under oath and state that, it is because business is done now. I'm explaining the way it is, Chair. I know it might be difficult to fathom without a breakdown of the true figures, but allow me, with a lot of humility, I can be able to present to the committee for you to be able to see. We had January, which was meant to be one of our highest months, had one of the lowest because of the transition into our hopeful new system that was actually meant to give us an increase because of the mapping. I also want to put a disclaimer as we sit right now here, because I know that I will come back here and you will ask me that question. I have tasked the team from finance, the receiver of revenue, the CEC as well, that they need to put to task this company that was given this role of actually doing the mapping. Because the last time that I checked, I was being informed that and I've told them to give them whether it is a warning or whatever it is, because the whole idea was for purposes of increase of revenue.
But then you have a systems implementation that occasions a loss.
It did not occasion a loss, Chair. I want to now state it again. The system, there was a transition from an old system to the new system. The transition coincidentally happened at the month of December going into January. So the month of January, all those business pairs, there was a decrease because of the way the system was meant to be. By the time we started...
Let's allow the governor to explain, because it might be...
But the governor, you know, the governor is double speak. He's saying there is no mapping. There was a transition for improvement of collection. I thought when you get a new system,
yesterday,
it's my concern as well, but let's allow him to finish the explanation.
Yesterday I had Senator Cherargei saying that he wishes he can speak in Kalenjin. I can speak Kalenjin, but unfortunately this is a house that was...
You are allowed. If you want
Governor, can you
I'm just stating...
Speak to the chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
I'm just stating the way it is, Chair. Is it easy for me to mislead? What was so difficult for me to come here and tell you that, you know what, biashara iliharibika, businesses went bad, but I'm just being very, very honest and truthful. And I've said with a lot of humility, allow me to give you that breakdown.
But through the chair, the governor, you are not giving us the real truth. You know, there is absolute truth, the true truth. You tell us, we are just asking why the shortfall. You are saying there was no mapping, business was not shut, and then you come back and say business was being bad. So who is the receiver of revenue through you, Chair, that can tell us, because under PMF, Chair, with your indulgence, there is an obligation. That is what you're asking, Governor. Because I thought as a governor you should be also worried that there is a shortfall.
I agree with
maybe it is the way I'm explaining it.
Just a minute, Governor. I agree with Senator Cherargei. Perhaps the tone might be a bit aggressive, but that's our concern, that when these numbers are not adding up, this is one of those areas where we only crucify the governor because he's a CEO. But this is a function where the role holder is defined in statute, and they must take responsibility. And when they're reporting, it cannot be that you have different sets of information from what the receiver has. In any case, if the renewal process was affected in January, then it would have recovered in February, March, April, May, June, because the financial year does not close in December. So I think that's where we are coming from. You are trying to explain something from the way you see it, but there seems to be somebody else who's a custodian of records who is not disclosing the real problem and giving us the wrong causes. I think we have discussed, we don't need to belabor it, but it's something that we need to improve on.
Well noted, Chair.
Yeah, otherwise people will say that you are collecting and pocketing. If we do not have that...
People will wrongfully say.
And then, even in the next 10 minutes, even if you come down to market fees, again, market fees, there was a drop. Market fees, there was a drop. You only realized 13% of your target. And, you know, earlier on, we were talking about the agricultural producers, the Kongowea markets, which we shall not go back to. But what was the reason given by the receiver of revenue for for the significant shortfall?
Market fee collection fell significantly short of the target. This may be attributed to a combination of underperformance, enforcement, temporary closure of markets due to structural upgrades, or health and safety issues, and possible revision of market policies affecting collection efficiency.
On this one, Governor, is it possible, because you have your markets, you know them, these ones all need to be mapped, and you know that market A, this is what we collected last year, this is what we collected this year, and this is the reason for that shortfall. I mean, as a business owner, you'd ask for that information, isn't it? And markets is emotive because it's small money from our people at the base of the pyramid. And I know those are the people who form the bedrock of your support. I know they're the members of your political party. I know that they're the members or they're the people who support you. If they have an inkling that whatever they are paying is not being accounted
does it
for.
mean members of ODM are only at the bottom? They are also up.
Yeah, we are a mass, it's a mass movement.
So it's from bottom up?
Yes.
Okay.
So you see the sensitivity here, Governor, is that we wouldn't say that your explanation is sufficient. You would tell us in Kongowea we shut down, and therefore there was a drop. In Market B, there was some policy, and therefore there was a drop. Because you collected 59 million, but prior year you had collected 62 million. Is this also system related?
A difference of 3 million shillings. No, it is not system related at all. Chair, I will give you, first of all, with your indulgence, a market has a very emotive. To go and send people or auctioneers and say that you are removing people because they have not been able to pay for their market stalls is not something that anyone would, in the right sense, really want to be able to do. Did we have a challenge in being able to receive that extra 3 million from 5962 and we ended up collecting only 59? Yes.
Remember, it's 13% of your own target. That 59, it's 13%.
Yes.
Yep.
And the target is always based on many factors, including the fact that what is the space that we have out there, what is the capacity that we can be able to do. There are two issues, Chair, that we want to be able to try and do. Again, this is futuristic. It will not be able to cure the fact that we were able to collect less last year. One of the things we tried to do when we got into office, and which has prompted us to do the second option that is there, we tried to find out who are the true owners. Who are the true owners of those stalls? Some of those stalls were given to individuals from the time of municipal. Figures and pieces of papers that have since gone missing. It is for you to actually be able to know who is the true owner of a stall here is as good as it's really as good as impossible.
Chair, with your indulgence, I have a problem. Just with the indulgence.
Senator, what's the point of order?
Governor, it is the issue of governance and leadership, because you have been in office for the last 4 years. This is your third financial year. I thought if we were in year one when you took over, and I know you took over from a friendly county government, I thought these are basics that you should have done, because what you should be telling us, and I agree with you, is maybe you don't have enough revenue officers who can go out. The issue of management and structure, because you have receiver of revenue here, you have town managers, you have people who are in charge of those stalls. We are not saying you should be there personally, because that is not how the government works. It works by power delegation. So if you are telling us that if somebody was given a space in Kongowea market in 1960 to their grandfather, by the time you go and look for them, by the time that will be 2030. So, Chair, I think, Governor, just be truthful as you have said. What is the real problem? Is it poor governance by your town managers or the administrators you have who runs these market stalls? Or is it lack of revenue officers? Do you have a challenge with enforcement? And every Kenyan, I want to defend Kenyans. Every Kenyan know that they have obligation to pay. Even if this shortfall of 3 million, even if they are supporters, they know by the fact that I have stole XY, I must pay for the service of using this. Because they know if they don't through the HIV, they don't pay for that service, they will not get a service where you give them sanitary, water, electricity, and other factors. So what is the real challenge, Chair? Because from me, Chair, where I sit, and I wish the Senator of Mombasa would be listening to this, is the issue of governance and leadership. It is not even about collecting, because if you hear what, so does it mean the previous county government did absolutely nothing by ensuring that you have updated collection form of register in markets?
Okay, before you respond,
No, you might not want to touch your brother. It might give you some political problems in Mombasa. But can you be truthful?
Order, Senator Chirarke.
With your indulgence,
just a minute, Governor. I'll allow Governor to respond. Because of time, the Senator Faki has another critical engagement, but he wanted to make a comment.
Yes.
But even us, we must wind down this meeting in the next 10 minutes maximum.
Chair, first of all, I want to say that Senator Cherargei is out of order for implying that the governor is not truthful. He has shown to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Agreed.
On the issue of markets, I'm aware that some markets have been closed. There's a market at Shikadabu on the road, which was closed because of poor, what we call poor uptake of the stalls. Yeah. There's another market which has been constructed in Chani, which has not been operationalized. It has been there. It was built by the late Ramadan Sef Kajembe when he was the area member of parliament, then take over by the county government, but it has not been completed. It's just a matter of putting in people, painting and putting in people for people to work and maybe earn a living from that market. What I want to say is that maybe there are some weak supervision by the enforcement officers, and some of these things have to be acknowledged, because you know, as a governor, you cannot be everywhere. Maybe some of your people are letting you down in terms of market, but on the whole, Mombasa has seen maybe a good business and climate environment for the business community. So it cannot be explained why maybe the revenues are falling.
Actually, before you leave, because this perhaps would have been from me the last one, but then I also from the other members. Governor says the economy is not doing badly. Businesses are not shutting down, so that cannot be something that goes on record. You have also stated it as such. But then when you look at another indicator of growth in the economy, physical planning and development, that also reduced by 50 million. And we have not said that someone stole here, someone stole there. But those drops, which are explained broadly, give the suspicion that there could be a problem somewhere in terms of enforcement, in terms of collection, and not reporting. So
maybe the Senator goes, what the Senator has explained is what should have appeared in these explanations. That market A, B, and C were closed, and that should have necessitated or facilitated the reduction in revenue. You know, we are not specific in the way we answer these questions. And I think you need to sit down your people who are writing these reports. Maybe they thought we don't read, but when we say there might have been change in policies that facilitated under collection, we want to know those policies, which those policies are, and how they affected the collection. Otherwise, these generic explanations really will not wash.
And this is important because this is the money you get from the residents of Mombasa. We sometimes focus on the money that comes from Nairobi, but the money that comes from the people of Mombasa is even more, I think it's even more painful. It's, when we say sweeter, it means it's sweet when you eat it. No, it's
People are becoming more
it's more painful. It's more painful to collect it because it's an additional tax over and above what they've already paid at the national level. Now, I think we have demonstrated the problems here on your revenue reports, and you have also undertaken that you're going to have a conversation with your people. I think that conversation is urgent, and that conversation is important. We will make very specific recommendations. Right now, we are just doing a diagnosis. We are yet to give a prescription. So we will give very specific prescription on administrative action. And where we feel that the reasons adduced do not make sense, we might ask our friends from the ones with capacity, either the Auditor General or EACC, to go into those systems and confirm that the numbers being reported are truly the numbers that have been collected from the people of Mombasa.
Chair, with your
Senator
indulgence, Governor, I think you have had our concern that senators might be busy people what we read, and we are keen to detail. The clans, the normal look, most of these responses are generic, and I think your staff have let you down. Unless, maybe Governor, just for clarity, do you run a one-man show in the county government of Mombasa? Just note it somewhere so that I finish.
If I did, I can assure you that we will not be having any misreporting.
Then you should run one-man show so that we get the correct answers. Anyway, that is something you need to, and you are a leader, you need anybody who doesn't perform, show them the door. Mercy is only will be shown in heaven, not in numbers. So my only concern, Chair, is can we have the governor on this receiver of revenue, because I'm dissatisfied and I'll be moving the committee with your indulgence. The governor should be given opportunity to go and relook, give us specific. For example, your senator has just said Shikadabu market because of challenges. We know Wananchi would want near the road, they want a strategic place, it was closed down. That is a valid reason, even OAG will take it. The issue of maybe Chani, maybe it's not fully operational. Those are challenges that we need to be specific to alleviate our concern of this drop from projected 6.9 billion to 4.8 billion. If those details of market fees, and I'm surprised in physical planning and development, because the last time I was in Mombasa, Chair, there's a lot of development in Mombasa. And some of us even have interest. There is so many developments in Mombasa. So when I see there is a fall in physical planning and development,
You must declare your interest.
it's not pecuniary. It is development of Mombasa County.
Yeah, I think it's a fair observation.
It's a fair observation.
You go to Nyali, you can see.
You can see.
an upsurge
I know,
of,
Chair, maybe
activity.
Nyali is your favorite sport. Maybe.
No, I can't.
I don't know why did you mention Nyali. So, Chair, I don't know what happens in Nyali. I only know Mombasa town. So, Chair, my only concern is when there is a drop in physical planning and development. If today I come to Mombasa and tell people we are not collecting money, they will be shocked because they are seeing buildings everywhere. There is affordable housing and many other things that these fees, unless you are waiving some of the national government projects, you can give us a reason. For example, under affordable housing program, maybe with your partnership with the national government, there are some fees that you waive or something. So, Chair, I think the explanation of shortfall of over 2 billion, missing the target, has not been addressed. And with your indulgence, I would move the committee that as we retreat to write our report, can we give time, Governor, to go and give us specific answers, and then we can come back and allow him to give us now the absolute truth. Thank you, Chair.
Can we shape our, like this as like the last question to the governor?
Yes.
Because of
time. You had ruled that we would finish at quarter past, and we're already there. But before you end, maybe let the governor tell us how they manage the hospital fees and the public health services fees, because in terms of comparison, there was a reduction in public health services fees from 1.1 billion, 49 million, but there's no comparison 2023-2024 for hospital fees, and yet you had 1.4 billion. Maybe we need to just get what happened and how you're managing that revenue.
Okay, again, Governor, there are very huge variances, but I think...
Chair, with a lot of indulgence, I'm not doubting your capacity on how you're chairing, but I think it is only fair. The number of interruptions does not give me an opportunity as well.
No, that's why I've directed that those be probably the last round of questions.
I'm more than willing
so that you are able to
if the senators want, because the beauty of a question is to get an answer. You might not be able to agree with me, but then that is the whole essence. But if we are going to interject each other, and Cherelge, you're right, I also chaired the Public Investments Committee, and I also had to one too many times put members in order that it is only right for
I think, Governor, that's sufficient.
This is what I was saying.
No.
Your information, Senator
allow
Moses
me
Kajwang
to chair
has been
the
chairing
meeting.
this committee for 15 years.
And that's why I said he's doing a very good job.
I'm not
He's doing a very good job. Our worry is
I must protect you, Chair. I have an obligation.
But you make me sound like Yoweri Museveni. 15 years.
Chair,
you have been very good, and you are a member of ODM. You are deputy party leader. Should be.
I'm actually extremely proud of. I'm extremely proud of my senator. I hope as well that members from the other party, their leaders can also say they're proud of them. But for me, I can state that I am proud.
Nomination certificate for him is ready.
Order, Senator Cherargei. Governor,
Chair, allow me just to be able to take. Let me explain some of the issues, and because this goes hand in hand, the issues of physical planning. If you look at the amount of approvals that were actually done, if you now go back into the nitty-gritties, how many approvals were actually done over the number of years, you will see that the approvals have actually gone high. Our plan probably was that, instead of buildings being built 30, our hope was that there will be 30, I'm giving an example, 30 buildings to be built in a certain area. There's a possibility that instead of 30, developers opted to do 26. It does not mean that last year they did 30 and they dropped to 26. What it means is that what we were anticipating was not as high as we thought, but it does not mean that there's a decrease. Actually, if you look at it in terms of the number of developments have actually increased. Two, Mombasa can only be able to grow up to a certain level as well. Right now we have another crisis where people are talking about all these high rises and all that we're doing. That is a conversation that we are working on an internal basis. The issue that I did not get clearly from yourself, Chair, you asked about the hospital fees. I understood Senator Marume asked that how do we handle the hospital fees? Even before the Facility Improvement Fund to be made into law, it was always policy by the County Government of Mombasa for money for health facilities to be retained at health facilities. We have never diverted money from health facilities to be used for anything else other than health and health-related. So every single facility is currently, maybe the question that you wanted to ask me was, is it the revenue? One thing I can assure you though, we most likely will be seeing an increase on these figures as well. And the reason why we'll be seeing an increase on these figures, for those who have been out, and of course the people who castigate about SHA and everything else.
Chair, maybe because we'll be looking at these reports even in future, let it be specific, because public health services, 2023-2024, you collected 1.1 billion. And then you collected in 2024-25, 49 million. But 49 million for public health services.
Where are you reading
the document you're looking at? The document that you have.
I'm going through the one that was done by the Senate.
That is the one. Now, if you look at hospital fees, that is 1.4 billion. Does it mean you implemented FIF in the year 24-25?
We had FIF. FIF was implemented that day it became law.
The governor.
Yeah, actually, the first county, yes.
Governor, I can help you. And I don't know why you are technical people are not helping you. It was misclassification in prior year. That in prior year, what should have been hospital fees was classified as public health service fees, which is completely different. So it's a misclassified expenditure. I'm just looking at time. And that's why you carry these technicians around. They should be able to advise the governor instead of subjecting the governor to lengthy explanations.
Actually, Chair, I just want to state it here.
Point of procedure.
No, let the governor speak.
Chair, I want to state it here as well, that amongst the figures that we should be seeing an increase on as well will be the one for health. And when we talk about health, it is both public health and clinical services. This is the reporting on revenue is done collectively from your level 2 dispensary all the way to our level 5. The reporting is done in a similar manner, despite the fact that they might be audited differently, but the reporting is reported under one receiver of revenue. And I wanted to state this here. This is the reason why we need to be in support of SHA.
No, before you go to SHA, you have CPG, which has always been a problem in your books because you are managing it within the department.
It was.
Has it now been devolved as a standalone unit? It's got its own revenue and
yes,
and expenditure
the current FIF. Not just talk about cost general alone, it also involves the level 4s. So the last time we were at the Public Accounts Committee, we were able to face the Public Accounts Committee on the same. But I think because the FIF was still very, very new, what we are planning to do right now is we've already advertised and we're enforcing these hospitals with better accountants.
Yeah,
as much as we need to get them better doctors, but we also need to get them better accountants, because when all of a sudden you see an upsurge in revenue, there could be temptation of doing other things that are not meant to be.
But let the accountants not be more than doctors.
No. By all means. In fact, Chair, probably the county government of Mombasa has one of the largest database of consultants in the country today. If I tell you the investments that we have done in health as a county government of Mombasa, we're currently building a hospital that I've proudly named Raila Odinga Hospital. It's going to be a state-of-the-art hospital, one of the largest within the coastal region. It's going to be in Kongowea. We're building another one.
It looks very nice on the billboard. I think I've seen a billboard of it. Yeah, I hope ground itakuwa hivyo.
The works have already started.
I think the governor knows your weakness. When he mentions Raila Odinga, all the questions disappear. You become smiling.
At that point, because we have only 5 minutes to the House sitting.
The name of Raila Amolo Odinga is a weakness to many people, including Cherelgei.
Oh yeah.
So it is a leader that we hold extremely dear to our hearts. We would not be where we are as a country and as individuals if it was not for the input and the hand of Raila Amolo Odinga on us. We would not be here.
Governor, let me put a pause there. I think today's session was extremely important to highlight some of the areas where we need to have more rigor in terms of reporting. Ideally, the Auditor General should have asked some of these questions that we are asking, but nothing stops the Senate from asking these questions. And I do hope that everyone who is in the governor's delegation now knows that if you have a responsibility to provide financial statements, do the right thing. Financial statements cannot be rendered on the basis of possibilities or likelihoods. The numbers are specific. If there are shortfalls, they must be explained, and for every reason given, a number must be attributed to that reason. So the speculative analysis that we have seen in this receipt of revenue statement is completely unacceptable. And I am happy that the governor has indicated that he's going to take action. We want the people of Mombasa to be convinced that when they pay money to the county government for provision of services, number one, that money is faithfully collected and reported, and number two, services are provided in return. That is how you build confidence on taxpayers. That's how you build confidence on citizens, and that's how you build confidence in the county government of Mombasa. There were several paragraphs on systems, which I think by and large, Governor, you have alluded to some of the